Came across a post on Reddit recently, and it's from a woman. And I think it's a bit interesting because I feel like it's probably a topic that comes up a lot in people's heads, men and women, but I imagine, especially women. I want to answer it because I'm a dude, and I already sense that I'm going to get pushback. People are going to say, well, how can you provide these opinions because you're a dude? You know, what can you possibly say to a girl in this situation when you're not living her life? I totally get that. But one of my philosophies is that it's good to take opinions from all different perspectives. Does that make sense? Like, if you're a dude, it helps to take advice from women sometimes. I'm not saying you have to follow the advice, but it helps to get the advice. It helps to see their perspective. If you're young, it helps to get perspectives from older people. And if you're old, it helps to get perspectives from younger people. So I'm gonna give my 2 cents because maybe I can provide some quality insight that she might like. So, as always, I'm gonna put the prompt on the screen so you can read along with me, and let's get into it. So, she puts, I, 33-year-old female, feel like I've lost all my beauty. Lately, I've been feeling dirty and like a blob. What can I do to change this scenario for me? I've always been pretty and skinny, ever since I was a teenager. However, these past years, I've been gaining more and more weight. I'm at my heaviest now. To give an overview, I'm 1.58, I guess that's meters. I'm not sure what that measurement is. Maybe not even meters. I don't really know what that is. Centimeters, maybe. And I weigh 84 kgs. I'm in the US, so we don't use kilograms, sadly. But I think, if I had to estimate, it's probably like, what, 170-ish pounds? 170, 175-ish pounds. Despite having a good hygiene and still taking care of myself, I still feel ugly. I feel dirty, and it's mostly due to my weight. I look at older pictures and feel so sad. What can I do to change this? I've tried reading books, but I feel like I always begin things and never finish them. As for gym, I've tried getting into it a few times, but I always end up dropping it. This is taking a toll, not only on my mental health, but also physical health. This, I imagine, like I said, I think is a pretty common problem with a lot of people. I imagine many people, as you start to age and as you start to get older, feel like an inferior version of your younger self. Now, she's a young woman that says that she's lost, or she feels like she's lost her beauty. And I'm gonna say something that's, maybe it's gonna sound a bit harsh, but hear me out. She put in this comment, I've always been pretty and skinny ever since I was a teenager. However, I've been gaining more and more weight. I'm at my heaviest. Now, she's asking in this comment, what should she do basically to look pretty? And I think we all do this. I'm guilty of this. We're all guilty of this. She answered her own question in this comment. What should I do to feel pretty again? And she started off by saying, I used to be skinny. That's the solution. Lose weight. And I'm not saying this to be mean. I'm not saying this to be an asshole or a dick. I'm saying this because, again, that's the solution. Lose weight. She put that she's tried to go to the gym, but she always ends up dropping it. What should she do? Now, I'm gonna give my overview on this, like, to the best of my ability from start to finish, if I were in her shoes. And as always with these Reddit posts, you don't know too much about the person's daily schedule. You don't know much about their lives. So it's hard to give like a full overview of what they should do. But just given what's here, and if I had to switch with her like today, this is what I would personally do. So, first of all, you gotta figure out what your schedule is. Because what I'm gonna recommend to you is you need to dedicate at least an hour every single day, 5 days a week, 5 to 7 days a week. If you can pull off 5, that's perfectly fine. If you wanna go the extra mile and do 7 days, then do 7 days. But at least 5 days a week need to be dedicated towards exercise. You're gonna do a workout routine filled with actual weights, and you're gonna do cardio. You're gonna do both. Why is she gonna do both? She's gonna do both. I've had people in the past say to me, and I've seen other people do videos about, when it comes to getting in shape, the diet is more important than the actual exercise and the actual muscle growth and the weightlifting. And I do agree that from a scientific and biological point of view, the weightlifting isn't as important as the diet. The diet's pretty important. However, when I've helped people in the past lose weight, and I was never like a hardcore personal trainer. I was kind of like a mini personal trainer, just helping friends and people I knew on the side. But my opinions to them and I found this to be true with myself consistently. This is where I got this opinion from. The diet is the thing that you need to focus on the most in the long run. But if you don't have a habit of actually exercising consistently, then the diet's not going to do too much for you. I say this because, say for example, you're in her situation, say you're 180 pounds, you don't work out consistently, it's not a habit for you, you're gonna go on a diet. First of all, you're gonna try to figure out what diet is the best diet. There is no best diet. You're gonna pick a diet. You're not gonna be consistent with that diet until you won't lose weight. Because after about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, when it starts to get difficult, because you're cutting out all the fun foods, all the foods that taste good, for foods that probably taste relatively shitty, relatively bland, when the diet fails, you're either gonna gain more weight back or you're just gonna reach like a flat line and you're not gonna make any more improvements. You don't want this. Consistency overall is what's gonna help you lose weight and build muscle too. But again, we're talking for her just losing weight because she wants to feel pretty. And she said that when she was younger, when she was a teenager, she was skinny. So it seems like being skinny is what she correlates to being pretty, which she currently is not. Totally understandable. I am going to suggest, again, both. You need to go to the gym and you need to lift weights, but you also need to eat well. They're going to go hand in hand, but I'm going to prioritize the lifting of the weights. I say this because if you lift weights, you can feel an instant response. If you go to the gym, this is true for men and women. If you go to the gym and say you do bicep curls, or say she's a girl, girls tend to like to do legs more, say she does some squats, you'll feel a pump. You'll feel a pump. And in about a week or a month, you're going to see things. You're going to see your legs start to get bigger. Most likely. You're gonna see your butt start to get bigger. Again, most likely. Depends on a variety of factors like your physiology and things like that, but you'll probably see at least some change. If you don't see it, you definitely will feel it. You're gonna feel it no matter what. And this consistent feeling like you're making progress is what's gonna keep you in the game longer. If you don't feel any progress, you're not gonna keep going. You're not gonna actually turn these behaviors into a long-term habit. Hopefully that makes sense. Dieting will not do that for you, because if you diet, you can eat a certain way the entire day, you can eat a certain way the entire week or month, but you might not really see yourself losing weight. You might even check the scale and the scale might not actually decrease because there's other things that you might not consider, like water weight or time of day, things like that. So you're not gonna feel like you're making results. And if you don't feel like you're making results, it's gonna feel pointless and you'll give up. We don't want you to give up. We want you to be consistent, because consistency is what's gonna make you lose the weight and get in better shape. So I'm gonna recommend exercising with weights and with cardio 5 times a week. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you're gonna lift weights. Tuesday and Thursday, you're gonna do cardio. And if you can squeeze in an additional day of lifting and an additional day of cardio on Saturday and Sunday, respectively, then do that. Does that make sense? Next thing, you're gonna have to schedule time. I tell people all the time, if I have clients for my productivity business, I say this all the time. And I bring this up, people might think this is me trying to like pitch my services or just trying to find a clever way to insert this. It's not. Everything you want in life, every type of goal you want to achieve, comes down to time management. I don't care what anyone says. It comes down to time management. If you cannot manage your time effectively, which is just self-management, you're not gonna achieve anything. You can't get in better shape unless you set aside time to actively try to get in better shape. If you want to make more money, you're not going to make more money unless you actively set aside time to start a side hustle, start a business, work more hours at your job. Does that make sense? If you want to go on more dates, if you want to get a high quality relationship, you're not going to do that unless you set aside time to go out and meet more people, to go out on more dates, to learn how to be more charismatic, whatever it is. You need to set aside time actively to do those things. This is no different. She wants to get skinny. She wants to get back in shape. She needs to set aside time. Again, like I said, at least an hour, 5 days a week, set 6 to 7 if possible, but at least 5 days a week for 1 hour to get back in shape. If she does this consistently, she will lose weight. She will lose weight. And as a side note, because she's trying to lose weight, I'm gonna say this. People overcomplicate the process of gaining and losing weight. I just did a bulk recently and I was about 205 pounds at the peak of my bulk, and right now I'm about like 180. I spent pretty much not all, but like maybe about 8 months in 2023 bulking, and I spent the past few months from about November-ish to now, currently it's February, cutting. A lot of people are saying, man, you look like you're in much better shape. You are getting much thinner. My abs starting to come through. And to be honest, I'm not like a stickler with any of the diet stuff. I'm not that kind of guy that sits there and counts calories all day. I'm not the kind of guy that pulls out a scale and measures everything. I don't actually care that much about like, I do care because it's a goal, but I don't care that much, so I'm not like super picky on it. But one thing I'll say is that a lot of people overcomplicate the idea of losing weight. It's not that complicated. It's actually quite simple. It's more or less calories in versus calories out. I don't know why everyone wants to make it so extreme. They always try to put in things like, oh, you need to have X amount of macros and micros. You do need those things in the grand scheme of things. But in general, when you're just losing weight, it's just calories in versus calories out. And I've seen people say, well, the food's processed. A lot of food's processed. That's why people can't lose weight. Or people have like really terrible metabolisms. That's why they can't lose weight. No. Is that part of it? Sure. Is that the thing that's killing most people? No, it is not. It's because people just don't track their calories enough to ensure that they're losing weight. They're moving too little, so they're not doing cardio, and they're eating too much. That's all it comes down to. It is not that complicated. So, as a final tip that I'm gonna recommend to just guarantee that she loses weight and gets back to being in better shape, all the shitty foods, like all the sugary stuff in your pantry or in your fridge or whatever, throw it away. Throw it away. I'm not saying you can't have a snack here and again, but don't keep it in your house, because if you keep it in your house, you're more incentivized to eat it. So throw it away. All the garbage foods, just like snacks, even if they're not sugary, just like snacks, throw them away. Only keep good quality foods and make sure you at least have a general idea of how many calories it is. And I'm gonna say this, one of the things that kills people, that really hurt people the most, people think it's foods, it's not the foods. What kills people the most when it comes to losing weight, it's the beverages. That's the thing that destroys people the most. And people don't even understand that. I'll see people who will say like, Rhea, I don't really eat that much a day. And I'll just sit there and look at their diet. They'll drink like Gatorade 5 times a day, High C juice, Snapple, all these beverages. And you think that because they're beverages, they don't have any calories, because people don't usually sit there and check the calories. A bottle of Gatorade could be like 300 calories. It doesn't sound like much. I know it doesn't sound like much, but keep this in mind. You can drink 4 Gatorades a day. 4 Gatorades a day, that's like 1,200 calories. The average adult human should be consuming, on average, about 2,000 calories per day. About half of the calories you've consumed in a single day are just from liquids. If you drink like Gatorade. If you drink water, it's no calories. But if you drink like Gatorade, that's like half your calories, just to liquids. And liquids you can kind of absorb and digest relatively quickly, which is why, and again, if you're drinking like sugary beverages too, like this is where people get screwed up. The sugary beverages just make you more thirsty. Like it's not, like because the sugar is so addictive, it's like candy. Like if you eat a little bit of candy, you end up eating a lot of candy. Some people have self-control and they can eat like 5 pieces of candy. A lot of people don't have the self-control, so they eat like 5 pieces of candy and still feel the craving for more candy. So they eat more candy. And then before they know it, even though candy might have like 30 calories per like piece of candy or 10 calories per piece of candy, you've consumed 800 calories because you're just eating so much of it, because the sugar just gives you cravings. It makes you want to eat more. The same thing with sugary beverages. And sugary beverages is easier because you drink it and you just piss it out. So now you're not really full and you gotta drink it more and you just piss it out. You're still getting the calories in your body. Hopefully that makes sense. So cut out all the beverages, drink more water, get rid of the sugar in your pantry, in your fridge, whatever, get rid of all the snacks, and just stick to basic foods. And the final thing I'm gonna say, when you start to actually create a diet, just eat the same thing every day. To me, that's like one of the biggest hacks that most people do not do. Just eat the same thing every day, and you don't have to count calories. I'll give a quick story. I know this video is kind of going on a bit, but I'll give a quick story. When I was cutting a few years ago, and what year was it? I think it was like 2019 or 2020, I was cutting. I would eat the exact same thing every single day. I fast in the morning. At about 12 p.m., 1 p.m.-ish, I would eat about 6 eggs, I think 3 sausages, like 3 pork sausages, and 2 slices of bread. And I'd have cheddar cheese on my eggs, and that was about it. That usually took me to about 1,200 calories-ish. And then I would pretty much not eat the entire day until like the end of the day, where I eat usually like some pork chops or some rice and some steak, just something. Like it was usually like a carb and a protein. And that was about it. That was about it. And usually I had about 1,900 calories per day, ish. But because I ate the same thing so consistently, I didn't have to sit there and like micro track my calories. Like you see like bodybuilders and stuff like that, they micro track their calories. Cool, you know, it's fine. They're doing it for competition. For the average person, you don't have to sit there and do all that. Just eat the same foods consistently. Know what's in it in general. You don't have to count calories ever again. It's that simple. And you'll lose weight by default. Even if you don't do the cardio. Even if you don't do the cardio, you're still gonna lose weight by default just because your diet is better. Your diet is putting you in a position where you're gonna lose body fat. Does that make sense? So it's not, don't make it overcomplicated. All these people on YouTube, all these like trainers, they make everything so overcomplicated. It's not that complicated. It's actually quite simple to gain weight and lose weight. Just allow it to be simple. Don't overcomplicate it. So this is what I recommend for this young lady if she were trying to lose weight. Again, find time in your day, like really schedule out your day from start to finish. This is why I usually recommend my clients. The night before, just sit there from 6 a.m., let's say that's when you're gonna wake up, until like 10 p.m. Let's say that's when you're gonna go to bed. By the hour, just schedule everything you plan on doing. It's not that hard. Squeeze in at least an hour to work out. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, weight lift. Tuesday and Thursday, do cardio. If you can't find a routine to weight lift, just go online, Google weightlifting routine for beginners. Or if you're not a beginner, I imagine she's a beginner because she keeps struggling to stay consistent at the gym. So just Google weightlifting routine for beginners and use whatever the first search result is. Don't overfixate on the routine, it's not that important in the grand scheme of things. Stay consistent, allow yourself to feel the positive results, feel the pump, watch yourself get bigger, watch yourself, get more muscular, be consistent, eat the same thing every day. That's really it. In my experience, usually in about 3 months, people will start to notice your results and they'll start to tell you, which creates a positive feedback loop. Usually in about 4 to 6 months, let's say about 5 months, you'll start to see results, like actually see results, because you're looking at yourself in the mirror like every day. So you don't really see those like micro results. And it's only when a few months pass by that you really get to see you get this kind of picture, the old version of yourself versus this new version of yourself. And that's when you kind of see the results. People like to take pictures too. I think that helps. If you're gonna take a picture of yourself on day one and then compare it each month, that helps too. That helps people get motivated. I don't have the patience to do all that, so I don't do it. But I've just found that if you wait about like 4 or 5 months, you'll just start to see the results. And in general, usually about around month 3, people will start seeing it for you and they'll start to usually you get positive feedback. And then just be consistent. Do it for as long as you need to do until you get to whatever shape you'd like to be in. And then by that point, you will hopefully feel like all of your beauty has come back to you. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. If it did or didn't, leave a comment below, leave a like, and please subscribe to the channel. I'm trying my best to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of March. Hope this video helped. Peace out. Bye.